Happy Valley is going to be jumping on Saturday night because it's the annual Whiteout game from Beaver Stadium, Iowa. Phil Parker bring their vaunted defense into State College. It's going to be another challenge for that Nittany Lion offense.
From LA to Piscataway, all Big Ten all year long. This is Big Ten 10.
Playing in the Whiteout. It's one of the most difficult things that an opposing team, that a visiting team can do all across the country in college football. The night atmosphere, it's very intimidating. 100,000 plus dressed in white, cheering their lungs out for the Penn State Nittany Lions. That alone makes this game pretty tough to play well and even get out with a victory out of State College, Pennsylvania. And then you've also factor in that this Penn State team, they're really, really good. You put those two together. If you have a team that's 100% healthy, that's already a steep mountain to climb. But here's the thing. The Iowa Hawkeyes are not 100% healthy. They're far from 100% healthy right now. They're playing a little bit shorthanded. They're on the penalty kill, so to speak. No Jazz Patterson, no Caleb Johnson due to injury in the backfield. No Luke Lachey for the rest of the season. The great tight end for Iowa suffered a season-ending injury in their last game against the Broncos of Western Michigan. That's where I want to start this preview. Somebody has to step in and step up for the Iowa Hawkeyes. If they want to continue to put up points, if they want to be in this game going into the fourth quarter, they're going to need to score, obviously, and somebody's going to need to step up. Is it LaShawn Williams in the backfield? Well, Sean Williams is a solid running back. He's had a good performance this season. He's had solid performances even going back to last season in that backfield. But is this the game where he can get 100? Is this the game where he can get 150? I'm not so sure. What about the tight end position? Now all of the eyes drift towards Eric All at tight end. Maybe someone at wide receiver, Nico Ragaini, Deontay Vine, Seth Anderson. What about Caleb Brown? The Ohio State transfer that was highly talked about and highly touted. People like me were really excited about what Caleb could maybe do in this offense. He's number 2 on the depth chart at one of these wide receiver positions. Maybe this is the game where he gets more opportunities. Maybe this is the game where he makes some plays and really makes an impact in a football game. No matter who it is, somebody's got to step up. If I'm Penn State defensively and I'm looking at this and I know this, I am attacking. We already know Manny Diaz has that in his mind. He's had that in his brain for many, many years. This is an attacking defense. This is an aggressive defense. I want to stop the run in this game, and I want to blitz all night because I'm pretty confident in my matchup on the corner spots. I'm pretty confident about the matchup of Kalen King and Johnny Dixon matching up against some of these Iowa wide receivers. I'm pretty confident that if I can get pressure on Cade McNamara and I can get in his face all night long, we know because of his injury where he's at right now, he's not exactly a fan of getting outside the pocket and using his legs. If I can get into the backfield, I can take advantage of the matchups out on the corner spots against these Iowa wide receivers. I feel pretty confident if I'm Penn State that I can do some really good things, and Iowa's not going to be able to do a lot against me. That's where Penn State has to come from in this football game. And for Iowa, you got to know that's coming. You got to know the pressure is going to be there. And as wide receivers, you probably got to know that, one, you go, yes, you have a difficult matchup, but you've got an opportunity to maybe make things happen in one-on-one coverage. Like I said, who's going to step up in that situation for Iowa? If those wide receivers get put out on an island, somebody's going to have an opportunity to make some plays. But Kalen King, Johnny Dixon, that's two of the best. That's one of the best corner combinations, those two, in the Big Ten, if not all of college football. I want to go to the other side of the ball. Last week, Johnny Newton was living in that Penn State backfield. He knocked Drew Allar on his butt a few times. Okay? This Penn State offensive line now maybe have question marks that they didn't have preseason and the first couple of games. Now you take on an Iowa defensive line that's really, really good. Now, they don't have a singular talent like Johnny Newton. They don't have one guy that's as talented as Johnny. Not a lot of people in college football do on the defensive line. But all across that D-line, they've got really good players. You look at Deontay Craig, Joe Evans, Logan Lee, even going down to Aaron Graves. Like, there's talent all across this D-line. Iowa is going to need to take advantage. They're going to need to win the battle in the trenches, need to get pressure on Drew Allar with that front four and take advantage of all the great players in the secondary that they have. I'll get to that here in just a little bit because that's a very interesting matchup as well. If they can win that battle against this Penn State offensive line, if they can kind of replicate what Illinois did a little bit, you could start to see some success for Iowa on defense, getting into the face of Drew Allar. Let's talk about the secondary here for Iowa, because there's some groups that might say they may actually have the advantage against the Penn State wide receivers in this game. You get Jamari Harris back for this game. A couple of years back, he was really good. He was a big part of this Iowa secondary, and it continues to grow. This Iowa secondary continues to get better. We've seen Sebastian Castro make some big plays as well. If I'm Phil Parker, if I'm Iowa on the defensive side of the ball, let's take away Keandre Lambert-Smith and make the rest of them beat you. Harrison Wallace was out last week due to injury. Malik McClain stepped in at wide receiver. Malik McClain, Liam Clifford, Dante Cephas, right? That transfer from Kent State that a lot of people, including myself, were really high on, just has 4 catches so far this season. You look at the stats, and the stats don't tell the whole story. You watch them on film, and it's kind of the same deal. Keandre Lambert-Smith is their clear number 1. And a lot of these other guys don't have the playmaking ability, it appears, that KLS does. So Iowa, whether it's Cooper DeJean or whether you got a shade of safety to his side, no matter what you got to do, try to take Keandre Lambert-Smith and his big playability, especially over the top of the deep ball, try to take that away. Try to make these other guys beat you in the past game. So far, I know it's been only 3 games, and they've only really had only 1 stiff challenge in Illinois, but so far, we haven't seen a lot from these other guys that say, yeah, these guys can go out and they can make a play and they can separate against a secondary like Iowa. Make the other guys beat you. Take away Keandre Lambert-Smith in this game. Because of that, because of what Penn State is facing in the Iowa secondary, I believe Mike Yurcich is going to have to get creative. He's going to have to scheme some guys open. Whether it's different route combinations, creative play calling, whatever it is, they're going to need to scheme it up. I truly believe that. I think Iowa we know how good they are in the secondary. I mentioned just now maybe where Penn State is outside of Keandre Lambert-Smith. I think there's going to be some creativity involved for Penn State to maybe get some guys open. And let's see the run game. This run game has yet to have, with Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, they've yet to have that explosive game that we saw from them last season. Okay, yeah, they've been methodical and they've pounded the rock. Yeah, sure. But we just haven't seen that big performance that we saw last season. And maybe it's because you got better talent at the quarterback position and you don't need the run game as much. But whatever the reason, we just haven't seen it yet. Will it happen against the Iowa Hawkeyes defense? Boy, I don't know. It's a good defensive line. You look at the linebacking group with Jay Higgins and Nick Jackson. I don't know if it's going to happen against Iowa. But they are going to need some balance, no question. They are going to need some balance so these Iowa defensive back, the ball Hawkeyes, aren't able to do their thing and force some turnovers and really key in on Drew Allar. And that's kind of where I want to finish up this preview with. We're going to find out how good Drew is. Okay, everybody, including myself, we were raving about him after 2 weeks. He was looking great. Illinois, they got in his face a little bit. Completion percentage, I think it was just a tick under 50%. Now, that being said, he stood in the pocket, he was gritty, and he grinded out some throws, and he made some throws and moved the chains when he needed to. There's going to be games like that against some of these Big Ten teams and Big Ten defenses where your stat line isn't going to be the greatest, but you got to find a way to make throws when you need to make them. Is he going to have a great stat line when all is said and done on Saturday night? I don't know. He's probably not going to have a stat line like he had against West Virginia. He's not going to have a stat line like he did against Delaware. This is another challenge for Drew Allar. And I think after this game, we're really going to find out where he and really this offense sits as a whole. Because you had the challenge against Illinois. Okay, you've seen it. You've seen a Big Ten defense and how Drew Allar really reacts to it. Now that you've seen it, use that to get better and use that to be prepared going up against the Iowa Hawkeyes. So I'm really excited to see where Drew Allar really fits in. Just how good is Drew Allar? A lot of people were crowning him the best quarterback in the Big Ten after 2 weeks. Now you faced a decent Illinois defense, an okay performance. Now you're facing the Iowa Hawkeyes, probably a better defense top to bottom. This is where we really find out how good Drew Allar and this offense really is. I'm really excited for this matchup. It's always great to see the Whiteout and the television product that it is. The CBS crew is one of the best out there. I'm so pumped to see this matchup, and I think there's a lot of intriguing pieces and parts and moving puzzle pieces in this game. I want to hear what you guys think. Who do you think's coming out on top? Do you think Iowa can slow down Penn State? Can they kind of use some of that Illinois stuff where they were able to find success defensively in the first half against Penn State? Or do you think the Nittany Lions are going to run it up and give a really good offensive output? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching Big Ten Ted, where it's all Big Ten all year long. Make sure to like the video to spread the word of Big Ten Ted to the masses, and subscribe to the channel for updates on Big Ten content that drops every day.